Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, we begin a journey not across plains or oceans, but upward into the ancient giants that shape our world, the mountains. These towering wonders hold secrets of geology, culture, and history, and tonight you will hear them told in a calm, steady flow designed to guide your mind into rest while sparking gentle curiosity. Imagine yourself standing at the foot of a great peak. The air is cool, the slope rises slowly into clouds, and above you rests the patient weight of millions of years of Earth's story. Mountains are not just rocks. They are archives, temples, and guardians of life. Before we begin, I gently invite you enjoy this calm journey to like and subscribe, only if it brings you peace. You are welcome to share in the comments your country, your city, and the time you are listening. Together, we form a global community of dreamers drifting through geography. Now, let us lift our minds into the first set of mountain facts, each one a quiet stepping stone on this climb. Fact 1. Mountains cover about 27% of the Earth's land surface. That means more than a quarter of our planet is shaped by these elevated landscapes, from rolling highlands to jagged summits. Fact 2. The tallest mountain above sea level is Mount Everest, reaching 8,849 meters. Yet, if measured from base to summit, Mauna Kea in Hawaii is taller, rising over 10,000 meters from its underwater base in the Pacific Ocean. Fact 3. Mountains form through tectonic forces, plates colliding, pushing upward, or volcanic activity building land over millennia. Their creation is both violent and patient, a reminder of Earth's restless energy. Fact 4. The Himalayas, home to Everest, are the youngest major mountain range, only about 50 million years old. In geological time, they are still growing, lifted as India continues to press into Asia. Fact 5. In contrast, the Appalachians in North America are among the oldest, with roots stretching back over 480 million years. Once as high as the Rockies, time has worn them down into rolling ridges and valleys. Fact 6. Mountains act as natural water towers. Over half of humanity depends on fresh water that originates in mountain regions, melting glaciers, snowpack, and rainfall feeding rivers that cross continents. Fact 7. The Andes of South America form the longest continental mountain range, stretching about 7,000 kilometers. Along their ridges live high-altitude cultures that thrive on quinoa, potatoes, and llamas. Fact 8. Mountains influence weather and climate. They block winds, create rain shadows, and shape ecosystems. The lush forests on one side may contrast sharply with deserts on the other. Fact 9. Culturally, mountains have long been seen as sacred. Mount Fuji in Japan, Mount Kailash in Tibet, and Mount Olympus in Greece all carry mythological weight, where gods, spirits, and ancestors are believed to dwell. Fact 10. Economically, mountains support industries like tourism, hydroelectric power, mining, and agriculture. From Swiss alpine resorts to Andean terraced farming, they link natural beauty with human ingenuity. Pause here and notice how each fact connects formation, age, water, culture, economy. Mountains are not separate from human life. They are part of our shared existence. Tonight, we have begun our ascent into knowledge, slowly and calmly, with the first 10 steps. As we continue, we will wander into mountain ecosystems, human cultures shaped by high altitudes, and the strange curiosities hidden among these ancient giants. Now that we have set our feet on the slopes of the world's mountains, let us pause and look closer at the life that thrives in these elevated spaces. Mountains are not barren wastelands of stone, though at first glance they might appear so. They are alive, filled with ecosystems that adapt to altitude, temperature, and thin air. Fact 11. Mountain ecosystems change with elevation in what scientists call vertical zonation. Starting at the base, one may find lush forests, which gradually give way to alpine meadows, followed by rocky tundra, and finally, icy peaks. It is as though, in a single climb, you could walk from a tropical zone to the Arctic. Fact 12. Despite the harshness of thin air, unique wildlife thrives in mountains. The snow leopard roams the Himalayas with silent grace. The Andean condor soars above South America with the largest wingspan of any land bird, gliding on mountain thermals. In the Rockies, mountain goats balance on impossible cliffs, their hooves gripping like natural climbing gear. Fact 13. Plants, too, adapt cleverly. Azelves, a small white flower, grows in the Alps, symbolizing resilience and purity. In the Andes, potatoes grow at high altitudes, cultivated by indigenous people for thousands of years. Bamboo forests thrive on the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro, creating a lush belt before giving way to open moorland. Fact 14. Humans who live at high altitudes show remarkable biological adaptations. In the Himalayas, Tibetans have evolved a genetic trait that allows them to use oxygen more efficiently, enabling them to thrive where oxygen levels are 40% lower than at sea level. Similarly, Andean people have developed greater lung capacity to endure thin air. Fact 15. Glaciers crown many mountain ranges, and these icy giants act as reservoirs of fresh water. The Himalayas are sometimes called the third pole because their glaciers contain more ice than anywhere outside the Arctic and Antarctic. Millions of people depend on this seasonal meltwater for drinking, irrigation, and hydropower. Fact 16. At the same time, mountains are highly vulnerable to climate change. Glaciers are retreating, permafrost is thawing, and species are being forced to move higher in search of cooler habitats. This fragile balance shows how connected global warming is to ecosystems far from the sea. Fact 17. Mountains are biodiversity hotspots. The tropical Andes, for example, are home to more species of plants and animals than almost anywhere else on Earth. Even the harsh Karakoram Range shelters unique creatures, like the ibex and markhor, living symbols of endurance. Fact 18. Tourism in mountain regions provides economic lifelines. Ski resorts in the Alps, hiking in the Rockies, and cultural pilgrimages in the Himalayas draw millions of visitors each year. Yet, sustainable management is crucial, as overtourism can damage fragile alpine landscapes. Fact 19. The highest permanent human settlement is La Rinconada in Peru, perched at about 5,100 meters. Life there is harsh, with freezing nights and limited oxygen, but it thrives due to gold mining. It is a reminder of human resilience and also of the cost of survival in such places. Fact 20. Mountains are UNESCO World Heritage Treasures. Sites like Machu Picchu in Peru, Sagarmatha National Park in Nepal, and Mount Huangshan in China are recognized not only for their natural beauty, but for their cultural significance to humanity. When we look at mountains, it is easy to see only their grandeur. But beneath the snow caps and stone lie fragile ecosystems, human adaptations, and delicate balances that sustain both wildlife and people. Mountains are not just static giants, they are living worlds within worlds. With each fact, we ascend a little higher, learning not only about the geology of peaks, but the vibrant, shifting tapestry of life that clings to them. Having seen how life flourishes in mountain ecosystems, let us now journey across the globe to visit the greatest mountain ranges, those vast backbones of continents that shape weather, culture, and imagination. Each range tells a unique story, a mixture of geology and human history interwoven with its peaks. Fact 21. The Himalayas are the highest mountain range in the world, home to all 14 of the planet's peaks, above 8,000 meters, including Mount Everest. They stretch across 5 countries: India, Nepal, Bhutan, China, and Pakistan, forming both a physical and cultural divide. Their very name comes from Sanskrit, meaning abode of snow. Fact 22. The Andes, running along the western edge of South America, are the longest continental mountain range, stretching for about 7,000 kilometers. They have shaped civilizations for millennia, from the Inca Empire to modern-day communities, who still farm terraces carved into steep slopes. Fact 23. The Rocky Mountains dominate North America, extending from Canada to New Mexico. Known for their sharp ridges and alpine lakes, they serve not only as a natural wonder, but also as a hub for tourism, skiing, and national parks that preserve vast wilderness areas. Fact 24. The Alps of Europe are not the tallest, but they are among the most culturally influential. They form the backdrop of folklore, music, and art, with villages nestled in valleys where traditions of cheese-making, yodeling, and mountaineering endure. Their slopes draw millions of visitors each year for skiing, hiking, and sightseeing. Fact 25. Africa, too, has its iconic ranges. The Atlas Mountains of Morocco form a rugged barrier between the Sahara and the sea, shaping local climate and culture. Farther south stands Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's tallest peak, a lone volcanic giant rising above the plains of Tanzania. Fact 26. In Central Asia, the Pamirs and the Tian Shan are sometimes called the roof of the world. These ranges are studded with glaciers and deep valleys that have long served as corridors for trade routes, including parts of the ancient Silk Road. Fact 27. Australia may be known more for deserts and coasts, yet it has the Great Dividing Range, stretching over 3,500 kilometers. While not as high as the Himalayas or Andes, it influences rainfall, agriculture, and biodiversity across eastern Australia. Fact 28. Antarctica has mountains, too, cloaked in ice. The Transantarctic Mountains divide the frozen continent. while the Ellsworth Mountains host Mount Vinson, the highest peak of Antarctica, at 4,892 meters. Few people ever see these remote giants, but they remind us mountains exist even in the harshest environments. Fact 29. Mountains often form natural borders between nations. The Pyrenees separate France and Spain. The Carpathians arc across Eastern Europe, weaving through several countries. In Asia, the Hindu Kush and Karakoram ranges stand as barriers that shaped empires and defended cultures for centuries. Fact 30. Mountains inspire spirituality and myth in nearly every culture. Olympus in Greece was believed to be the home of the gods. Mount Fuji in Japan remains a sacred symbol of endurance and beauty. The Andes host festivals and rituals that honor the Apus, or mountain spirits, believed to protect local people. Fact 31. Not all mountains are towering giants. Some are ancient and worn, like the Appalachian Mountains of North America. These ridges were once as high as the Himalayas, but erosion over hundreds of millions of years has softened them into rolling hills, covered in forests that turn vibrant colors in autumn. Fact 32. Volcanoes are mountains, too, born of fire. Ranges like the Cascades in the Pacific Northwest are dotted with volcanic peaks, such as Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier. In the Andes, active volcanoes like Cotopaxi and Villarrica still rumble with potential eruptions, reminding us that mountains are always alive. Each range has its character, carved by forces of geology, climate, and culture. Together, they form the spines of continents, shaping where rivers flow, where cities grow, and even how weather patterns unfold. To journey through the mountain ranges of Earth is to step into the great architecture of our planet, towering monuments of stone and snow that remind us of both permanence and change. Mountains do not only rise above the land as majestic silhouettes. They actively shape the climate around them, influencing rainfall, temperature, and even the very air we breathe. To understand mountains is to understand how they guide the natural rhythms of the earth. Fact 33. Mountains act as barriers to winds, creating what is called the rain shadow effect. When moist air from oceans rises over a mountain range, it cools and releases rain or snow on the windward side. The air then descends, dry, often forming deserts. The Andes, for example, trap moisture on their eastern slopes, while creating the arid Atacama Desert to the west. Fact 34. Many of the world's great rivers begin in mountains. The Ganges, Yangtze, Nile, Amazon tributaries, and Colorado River all rise from highland glaciers or snowfields. These rivers sustain millions of people, carrying both water and nutrients far into plains and valleys. Fact 35. The Himalayas profoundly shape Asia's monsoons. Acting as a giant wall, they trap moist air from the Indian Ocean, bringing rains that sustain agriculture for over 1 billion people. Without these mountains, the climate of South Asia would be drastically different. Fact 36. Mountains also create microclimates. A valley might stay lush with vegetation, while a ridge above remains barren. This layering of climates supports diverse ecosystems within short distances, making mountain regions some of the most biodiverse places on Earth. Fact 37. Snow and glaciers on mountains act as water reservoirs. Known as the water towers of the world, these icy stores slowly release meltwater that feeds rivers during dry seasons. The Alps supply much of Europe's fresh water, while the Rockies do the same for North America. Fact 38. Altitude affects temperature. For every 1,000 meters you climb, the temperature typically drops about 6.5 degrees Celsius. This phenomenon means that mountain summits can host icy conditions even near the equator, as on Mount Kilimanjaro or the Rwenzori Mountains of Africa. Fact 39. Mountains influence global wind and jet stream patterns. The Rockies and Himalayas, in particular, push and guide air currents that ripple across continents, shaping storm tracks and rainfall far from their slopes. Fact 40. They also impact agriculture. Terraces carved into steep mountain slopes allow farming in difficult terrain. The Inca perfected this technique in the Andes, creating fields that reduced erosion and used microclimates to grow diverse crops. Today, terrace farming is still used in Asia's mountain rice fields. Fact 41. Mountain regions are warming faster than lowlands due to climate change. This rapid warming threatens glaciers, snowpacks, and the water supplies of billions of people. It also shifts ecosystems upward, placing pressure on plants and animals adapted to high elevations. Fact 42. Because mountains trap clouds and storms, they often see much more precipitation than surrounding regions. Mount Wailea in Hawaii, a volcanic peak, is one of the wettest places on Earth, receiving nearly 10,000 millimeters of rain annually. In contrast, nearby leeward areas remain dry. Fact 43. Mountains also protect biodiversity by acting as natural refuges. As climates shift, species migrate upslope, finding cooler habitats. This makes mountains crucial for conservation and for maintaining the richness of life. Fact 44. Some cities depend entirely on mountains for water. Cape Town draws from the Table Mountain aquifers. These urban connections to distant peaks highlight the hidden dependence of modern economies on mountain systems. Fact 45. The Himalayas, Andes, and Rockies create entire regional identities, not only influencing nature, but also human settlement. Towns built on the wetter slopes may thrive in farming, while those in rain shadows rely on trade, herding, or mining. The climate, crafted by mountains, is inseparable from culture. Mountains, then, are not passive landscapes. They are active architects of climate, rainfall, agriculture, and survival. They ensure rivers flow, fields grow, and cities prosper. Now that we've seen how mountains shape climates and rivers, let us lift our gaze even higher, to the world's loftiest summits, the crown jewels of Earth. These peaks stand not only as geographic wonders, but also as symbols of endurance, spirituality, and global fascination. Fact 46. Mount Everest, towering at 8,849 meters, is Earth's highest point above sea level. But, interestingly, due to Earth's equatorial bulge, Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador is actually the farthest point from the planet's center. It shows us that highest depends on how we measure. Fact 47. K2, the second highest mountain at 8,611 meters, is often considered more dangerous than Everest. With steeper slopes, unpredictable weather, and fewer climbers, it has earned the nickname Savage Mountain. Despite its dangers, it inspires awe among mountaineers for its sheer grandeur. Fact 48. Denali, in Alaska, rises to 6,190 meters. But what makes it especially remarkable is its vertical prominence, the height from base to summit. Measured this way, Denali's rise is greater than Everest. Because Everest is surrounded by high plateaus, while Denali rises from near sea level. Fact 49. In South America, Aconcagua stands as the continent's highest mountain at 6,962 meters. Its slopes, located in the Andes of Argentina, are a popular destination for climbers seeking altitude without extreme technical difficulty. Yet, the altitude alone makes it a formidable challenge. Fact 50. Africa's highest mountain, Kilimanjaro, rises to 5,895 meters in Tanzania. What makes Kilimanjaro iconic is not just its height, but its snow-capped summit standing alone on the plains, an isolated peak shaped by volcanic forces. Its ice fields are now shrinking, a visible marker of climate change. Fact 51. In Europe, Mount Elbrus claims the crown at 5,642 meters. Though less dramatic than the Alps in appearance, Elbrus is a dormant volcano, reminding us that many great peaks were born of fire. Climbers often debate whether Elbrus belongs to Europe or Asia, since it straddles the Caucasus. Fact 52. Antarctica's highest point is Mount Vinson, reaching 4,892 meters. Remote, icy, and seldom visited, it is one of the least accessible of the 7 summits, the highest peaks of each continent. Its frozen landscapes highlight the stark extremes of mountain environments. Fact 53. Not all great peaks are measured by altitude. The Matterhorn in Switzerland, though 4,478 meters, is one of the most famous because of its perfect pyramid shape. Its silhouette graces postcards, paintings, and even chocolate bars, symbolizing alpine majesty. Fact 54. Napana in Nepal holds a tragic record. It has one of the highest fatality rates among the world's major peaks. Its avalanches and steep walls remind us of the dangers hidden within beauty. The mountain has claimed many lives, even as it continues to inspire climbers. Fact 55. The Karakoram Range, home to K2 and other colossal peaks, has more summits above 8,000 meters than any other region. Known for jagged spires and glaciers, it is a land where ice and rock dominate. Here, nature's scale seems almost otherworldly. Fact 56. Some mountains rise not only in height, but also in cultural importance. Fuji in Japan, at 3,076 meters, is lower than many others, yet it is sacred, painted by artists and visited by millions. Its nearly symmetrical cone embodies harmony and natural beauty in Japanese culture. Fact 57. Mauna Kea in Hawaii is technically the tallest mountain on Earth, if measured from its base on the seafloor. From base to summit, it spans over 10,000 meters, greater than Everest. Its slopes host observatories, blending ancient volcanic land with modern astronomy. Fact 58. The Andes stretch nearly 7,000 kilometers, longer than any other continental mountain range. Within them lies not only Aconcagua, but hundreds of peaks above 6,000 meters. The sheer scale of the Andes influences climates, cultures, and economies across South America. Fact 59. The Himalayas contain over 100 peaks higher than 7,200 meters, more than the rest of the world combined. This makes them not only the tallest, but also the most dramatic range, where altitude dominates life and landscapes alike. Fact 60. Even smaller peaks can feel monumental. Ben Nevis, in Scotland, at 1,345 meters, is modest compared to the Himalayas. Yet, it stands as the highest point in the British Isles, attracting hikers, both challenge and charm. High peaks are more than numbers. They are symbols of the Earth's restless spirit, reminders of our smallness, and invitations to wonder. Whether sacred, scientific, or simply stunning, they draw eyes upward and inspire the imagination. Mountains are often seen as remote and inhospitable, yet they are home to astonishing biodiversity. Because of their unique climates and isolation, mountains host species that cannot be found anywhere else. To climb from base to summit is to walk through entire worlds of life stacked upon one another. Fact 61. Mountains cover about 27% of Earth's land surface, but harbor more than half of all global biodiversity hotspots. From the tropical Andes to the eastern Himalayas, mountains act as cradles of evolution and refuges for rare species. Fact 62. The Andes alone are home to over 30,000 species of vascular plants, nearly half of which exist nowhere else. Orchids, bromeliads, and medicinal herbs thrive along its slopes, shaping local culture and global trade alike. Fact 63. The snow leopard, a symbol of Asia's highlands, roams across 12 countries, but is rarely seen. Perfectly adapted with thick fur, wide paws, and a long, balancing tail, it survives in terrain that few other large cats could endure. Fact 64. The Himalayas are home to the red panda, a small, tree-dwelling creature with a bushy tail and a shy nature. Though lesser known than the giant panda, it is equally captivating, its survival linked to high-altitude bamboo forests. Fact 65. The unique isolation of mountain valleys leads to high levels of endemism. In Ethiopia's Bale Mountains, for example, the Ethiopian wolf thrives. It is the rarest canid on Earth, surviving in Afro-alpine meadows above 3,000 meters. Fact 66. Mountain gorillas inhabit the volcanic slopes of the Virunga Mountains in East Africa. Once critically endangered, they are now slowly recovering thanks to conservation. Their survival highlights how mountain ecosystems and human care intertwine. Fact 67. Birds also find sanctuary in mountains. The Andean condor, with a wingspan over 3 meters, soars above South America's peaks. Revered by indigenous cultures, it symbolizes strength and longevity, gliding effortlessly on mountain winds. Fact 68. In Europe's Alps, the alpine ibex climbs impossibly steep cliffs with ease. Its curved horns and nimble hooves make it a living symbol of resilience, perfectly adapted to rocky terrain where predators cannot follow. Fact 69. Mountains also nurture rich plant diversity. The Himalayas are home to rhododendrons, which bloom in vivid reds and purples, painting entire slopes with color each spring. Such blooms sustain pollinators and add to cultural traditions. Fact 70. In tropical mountain ranges, cloud forests thrive. These misty ecosystems, found in places like Costa Rica, host orchids, frogs, and hummingbirds. The constant moisture creates a fairy tale landscape of moss and ferns. Fact 71. Glacial meltwaters in mountain rivers support freshwater biodiversity. Fish, such as trout and salmon, depend on cold, clean streams that originate in snowfields. These species also sustain human economies through fishing and tourism. Fact 72. Mountains are home to some of the world's most ancient species. The bristlecone pine, found in California's White Mountains, can live for over 4,000 years. These trees endure harsh conditions, their twisted trunks bearing silent witness to millennia. Fact 73. The Andes, llamas, and alpacas were domesticated thousands of years ago. They remain central to highland economies, providing wool, transport, and companionship. Their survival in thin air showcases the bond between humans and mountain animals. Fact 74. In the Himalayas, yaks perform a similar role. With their thick coats and strength, they carry loads across passes and supply milk, meat, and shelter. Entire cultures depend on these animals for survival in high-altitude environments. Fact 75. Even at the highest elevations, microscopic life thrives. Algae, bacteria, and lichens colonize rocks and snowfields, forming the base of delicate ecosystems. They remind us that life persists in even the harshest places. Mountains, then, are living cathedrals of biodiversity. From great predators to tiny lichens, from medicinal herbs to sacred animals, they harbor life in unexpected abundance. Each elevation, each slope, is a different chapter in Earth's story of adaptation and survival. Mountains have never been silent backdrops to human history. They have inspired myths, served as fortresses, provided resources, and shaped cultures. In many traditions, mountains are seen as sacred bridges between earth and heaven, or guardians of the land. Fact 76. In ancient Greece, Mount Olympus was believed to be the home of the gods. Its cloud-covered summit was thought to host Zeus and his divine court, making it a symbol of ultimate power and mystery. Fact 77. In Japan, Mount Fuji has been venerated for centuries. Pilgrims climb it as a spiritual journey, and artists have painted it countless times. Its nearly symmetrical cone embodies beauty, harmony, and the connection between humans and nature. Fact 78. The Inca Empire was deeply connected to mountains, which they called apus, protective spirits. Many Inca temples and shrines were built high in the Andes, aligned with peaks considered sacred guardians of valleys and communities. Fact 79. In Hindu tradition, Mount Kailash in Tibet is regarded as the abode of Lord Shiva. Pilgrims from multiple religions, Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, and Bon, circle the mountain in a ritual called Kora, though its summit is never climbed out of respect. Fact 80. Mount Sinai in Egypt is significant in Abrahamic faiths. It is traditionally believed to be where Moses received the 10 Commandments. Its rocky slopes remain a site of pilgrimage and reflection. Fact 81. Mountains have often provided natural fortresses. In Afghanistan, the Hindu Kush Mountains have historically shielded tribes and armies, influencing the course of invasions and conquests over centuries. Their rugged terrain made them nearly impenetrable. Fact 82. In Europe, the Alps shaped the history of trade and travel. Alpine passes like the St. Gothard became vital routes linking northern and southern Europe. They enabled commerce while also serving as strategic barriers during wars. Fact 83. The Swiss Alps gave rise to the concept of neutrality. Their protective terrain helped Switzerland remain largely untouched by wars, influencing the nation's unique political and cultural identity as a place of peace and banking stability. Fact 84. Mountains are also central to art and literature. Romantic poets in the 19th century saw them as symbols of sublime beauty, inspiring awe and humility. Writers like William Wordsworth found spiritual renewal in mountain landscapes. Fact 85. In China, the 5 great mountains have been sites of pilgrimage for over 2,000 years. Associated with Taoist and Buddhist practices, they combine nature with philosophy, symbolizing balance between heaven and earth. Fact 86. In Native American traditions, mountains often feature as sacred places where the divine and the earthly meet. For example, Mount Shasta in California is seen as a spiritual center linked to creation stories and visions. Fact 87. Mountains have also influenced warfare. Hannibal's crossing of the Alps with elephants during the Second Punic War remains one of history's most daring military feats. The mountains tested both human endurance and strategic brilliance. Fact 88. The Karakoram and Himalayas have served as natural borders, influencing the politics of South and Central Asia. They separated empires, shaped trade along the Silk Road, and continue to define modern boundaries. Fact 89. Mountains inspire music as well. From Tibetan chants echoing in monasteries to alpine yodels carried across valleys. Mountain cultures have developed unique sounds shaped by acoustics of their environment. Fact 90. Even today, mountains symbolize escape and retreat. Riders, monks, and wanderers have all sought refuge in highlands, finding solitude and clarity in their heights. This tradition continues in retreats, ecotourism, and quiet mountain villages. Mountains, then, are not just geological features. They are cultural beacons, sacred monuments, and historical actors. They connect the human imagination to the sky while anchoring communities firmly to the earth. While mountains often appear remote and untouched, they are deeply woven into the global economy. They provide essential resources, drive tourism, and even generate renewable energy, sustaining not only local communities, but also entire nations. Fact 91. Nearly half of the world's population depends in some way on mountain resources, whether through water, minerals, forests, or tourism. Mountains contribute silently to daily life far beyond their slopes. Fact 92. Mining has long made mountains sources of wealth. The Andes, for example, contain some of the world's richest deposits of copper, silver, and lithium. These minerals fuel global industries, from electronics to renewable energy technology. Fact 93. In the Alps, tourism is a cornerstone of the economy. Ski resorts, hiking trails, and alpine spas attract millions of visitors each year, generating billions of dollars and supporting local livelihoods. The Alps demonstrate how natural beauty becomes economic vitality. Fact 94. Hydropower is another mountain gift. Rivers fed by glaciers and snowmelt are harnessed by dams to produce electricity. In countries like Norway and Switzerland, mountain hydropower provides a major share of renewable energy. Fact 95. Agriculture in mountains is often specialized and unique. From Himalayan tea plantations to Andean quinoa fields, mountain farmers cultivate crops adapted to high altitudes. These products often fetch premium prices on global markets, linking tradition to modern trade. Fact 96. Forests on mountain slopes provide timber, fuel, and non-timber products such as mushrooms, berries, and medicinal plants. In the Himalayas, herbs collected from high meadows support traditional medicine and modern pharmaceuticals alike. Fact 97. Tourism in mountain regions extends beyond skiing. Trekking in Nepal, mountaineering in the Karakoram, and cultural tourism in the Peruvian Andes all create diverse revenue streams. For many nations, mountains are national icons that attract global travelers. Fact 98. Luxury tourism has grown in mountain regions. Resorts in the Rockies or chalets in the Swiss Alps combine natural beauty with comfort, drawing those seeking both adventure and relaxation. Mountains, thus, support high-end travel economies. Fact 99. Water from mountains sustains agriculture far downstream. Irrigated fields in India, Pakistan, and China depend on meltwater from the Himalayas. Without this flow, food security for hundreds of millions would be threatened. Fact 100. Mountain transport routes have long been vital for trade. The Silk Road passed through mountain passes, linking Asia and Europe. Even today, roads and railways carved into mountains like the Andes remain crucial for moving goods and people. Fact 101. In recent years, ecotourism has emerged as a sustainable economic strategy. Instead of mass resorts, small community-led projects in mountain villages offer authentic cultural experiences, spreading income more fairly while protecting the environment. Fact 102. Mountains also contribute to global economies through cultural exports. Swiss chocolate, Himalayan salt, and Colombian coffee are tied not only to culture, but also to the identity of mountain landscapes. Fact 103. Some mountains are considered natural brands. The French Alps, for instance, are not only destinations, but symbols of quality in food, wine, and even fashion. The association between mountains and purity enhances marketing worldwide. Fact 104. Mountain sports fuel industries as well. From climbing equipment to winter gear, the need for specialized clothing and tools drives innovation in outdoor technology. Many global brands trace their origins to mountain exploration. Fact 105. In developing regions, mountain economies remain fragile. Isolation, harsh climates, and limited infrastructure pose challenges. Yet, when supported with sustainable tourism, renewable energy, and education, mountain communities can thrive without overexploiting their environment. Thus, mountains are more than scenic views. They are economic engines that drive industries, sustain cities, and even define national identities. The wealth they provide, whether through resources, water, or cultural value, is as towering as their peaks. For as long as humanity has gazed at towering peaks, mountains have inspired stories, beliefs, and spiritual practices. Their sheer presence, reaching upward into the heavens, has made them symbols of strength, mystery, and the connection between earth and sky. Fact 106. In Greek mythology, Mount Olympus was home to the gods. The idea of divinity dwelling atop a mountain highlights the universal human tendency to view high places as sacred thresholds. Fact 107. In Hinduism, Mount Kailash in the Himalayas is considered the abode of Lord Shiva. It is so sacred that no one is permitted to climb it. Pilgrims circumambulate the base in a ritual of devotion, walking nearly 52 kilometers in often harsh conditions. Fact 108. In Buddhism, mountains often represent enlightenment. Many monasteries are perched on cliffs and peaks, symbolizing the spiritual journey of rising above worldly concerns. Bhutan and Tibet are rich with such sacred retreats. Fact 109. In Christianity, mountains appear frequently in the Bible. Mount Sinai is where Moses is said to have received the Ten Commandments, while the Sermon on the Mount remains central to the teachings of Jesus. Fact 110. In Japan, Mount Fuji is a symbol of both spiritual purity and national identity. Pilgrims climb it as a sacred practice, while artists have depicted it for centuries, blending natural beauty with cultural reverence. Fact 111. Indigenous cultures around the world see mountains as living beings. For the Quechua people of the Andes, the mountains, or appas, are protectors and providers, watching over villages and crops. Offerings are made to maintain balance with these powerful spirits. Fact 112. In Norse mythology, mountains were seen as the bones of ancient giants. This imagery reveals how people once explained the immense scale of landscapes they could not otherwise comprehend. Fact 113. Many creation myths involve mountains. In some Native American traditions, the first humans emerged from mountain caves, linking the land's geography to human origin stories. Fact 114. Beyond religion, mountains shape art and imagination. The Romantic poets of the 18th and 19th centuries described the Alps and the Scottish Highlands as sublime landscapes, both beautiful and terrifying, stirring emotions beyond ordinary words. Fact 115. In modern times, mountains symbolize endurance and personal challenge. Climbers often speak of summits as metaphors for life's struggles, each ascent representing perseverance and triumph. Fact 116. Mountains also inspire film and literature. From Tolkien's misty mountains to the towering peaks in films like 7 Years in Tibet, mountains often serve as backdrops for epic journeys, both physical and spiritual. Fact 117. Music has not escaped their influence either. Traditional songs in mountain regions, whether Swiss yodels or Andean pondpipe melodies, often echo the natural rhythm of valleys and slopes. The environment itself shapes cultural expression. Fact 118. Mountains feature in astrology and philosophy as well. The metaphor of climbing higher, seeing farther, and reaching enlightenment is universal, reflecting how physical geography influences human thought. Fact 119. Even today, many travelers visit mountains not only for tourism but for spiritual retreat. Silent meditation centers in the Himalayas, pilgrimages to Mount Athos in Greece, and sacred hikes up Mauna Kea in Hawaii all continue ancient traditions. Fact 120. Ultimately, mountains remind us of our smallness in the face of nature. Yet, they also encourage us to look upward, toward dreams, and toward higher understanding. Through myth and faith, mountains become more than stone. They are symbols of connection, places where human imagination meets the sky. Mountains are not just dramatic landscapes. They are living ecosystems, layered with life that changes as you climb higher. Each altitude reveals a new community, shaped by temperature, oxygen levels, and the power of water and wind. Fact 121. Mountains host some of the planet's greatest biodiversity. Despite their often rugged and extreme environments, nearly 1/4 of terrestrial species live in mountain regions. Fact 122. As you ascend a mountain, ecosystems shift in bands, like natural staircases. At the base, lush forests thrive, but higher up, trees give way to alpine meadows, and, at the highest peaks, only mosses and lichens can survive. Fact 123. The Andes are home to an astonishing variety of species. More than 30,000 types of plants grow there, many of which exist nowhere else on Earth. These plants adapt to intense sunlight, thin air, and steep slopes. Fact 124. The Himalayas provide habitat for rare animals like the snow leopard, red panda, and Himalayan mammal, Nepal's national bird. These creatures live in delicate balance with their harsh environment. Fact 125. Mountains are also key sanctuaries for water-related species. Glacial lakes and rivers support fish like trout, and amphibians adapted to cold waters thrive in mountain streams. Fact 126. In Africa, the Ethiopian highlands are nicknamed the roof of Africa. They host unique species like the gelada, baboon, and the Ethiopian wolf, which exist only in these high-altitude regions. Fact 127. The Alps, though highly developed for tourism, still shelter ibex, chamois, and marmots. Many alpine flowers, such as edelweiss, symbolize resilience and beauty in thin, rocky soils. Fact 128. High mountain regions are often biodiversity islands because species evolve in isolation. Mountains create unique ecosystems that differ from surrounding lowlands. Fact 129. Tropical mountains, such as Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, are particularly rich. Within a single ascent, one can pass through rainforest, heathland, alpine desert, and finally, icy summit conditions. Fact 130. Glaciers and snowfields act as reservoirs, feeding rivers that sustain life far beyond mountain borders. This makes mountains essential not just for wildlife, but for agriculture, economies, and cities downstream. Fact 131. Some mountain plants are highly valued in traditional medicine. For example, cordyceps fungi in the Himalayas are prized in both local healing practices and global health markets. Fact 132. Mountains are migration corridors. Birds often follow mountain ridges during seasonal movements, finding food and shelter along their journey. Fact 133. In the Rockies, elk, moose, and bighorn sheep roam vast ranges, moving seasonally between valleys and higher elevations. Fact 134. Climate change threatens these fragile systems. As temperatures rise, species are forced to climb higher in search of cooler conditions. Eventually, some may run out of space altogether. Fact 135. Mountain biodiversity also sustains human culture. Local cuisines, traditional medicines, and even fabrics like alpaca wool all originate from mountain ecosystems. Fact 136. UNESCO has designated many mountain regions as biosphere reserves and World Heritage Sites, acknowledging their global ecological importance. Fact 137. Tourism, when managed sustainably, can help protect mountain biodiversity. Nature reserves, hiking trails, and ecologes bring income while encouraging conservation. Fact 138. Yet the most enduring fact is that mountains nurture balance. From the highest snow peaks to hidden valleys, their ecosystems hold together fragile webs of life. Fact 139. By protecting mountain species, we are also safeguarding water, air, and culture. Mountains are reminders that biodiversity is not just about numbers, but about the harmony that sustains us all. Fact 140. Each peak is a living archive, holding secrets of survival, adaptation, and resilience that continue to inspire scientists, travelers, and storytellers alike. Mountains are not only landscapes of stone and ice. Across cultures, they rise as symbols of the divine, places where the earth seems to touch the heavens, and where human imagination finds endless meaning. Fact 141. Many of the world's great religions and spiritual traditions hold mountains as sacred. They are often seen as stairways to the divine, their summits closer to the sky and therefore closer to the gods. Fact 142. Mount Kailash in Tibet is one of the most sacred peaks on earth. For Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, and followers of the Bon tradition, it is considered the axis of the world, a center of creation and spiritual energy. Fact 143. Pilgrims journey around Mount Kailash in a ritual called the Kora, a 52-kilometer trek that is believed to cleanse sins and bring blessings. Few attempt to climb the mountain itself, as it is regarded too holy to be set foot upon. Fact 144. In Japan, Mount Fuji is not just a symbol of beauty, but also of purity and rebirth. For centuries, pilgrims have climbed its slopes at dawn, seeking spiritual renewal as the sun rises over its peak. Fact 145. Mount Olympus in Greece, known from ancient mythology, was thought to be the home of the 12 Olympian gods. Its snow-covered peaks inspired countless stories, making it one of the most storied mountains in history. Fact 146. The Native American peoples of the United States also revere mountains. For the Navajo, the 4 sacred mountains mark the boundaries of their homeland, providing both physical orientation and spiritual grounding. Fact 147. In Bhutan, mountains are considered the dwelling places of deities. This belief has shaped both the country's architecture and its conservation policies, protecting peaks and valleys from unnecessary disturbance. Fact 148. Mount Sinai in Egypt is said to be the site where Moses received the 10 Commandments, making it central to Judeo-Christian and Islamic traditions alike. Pilgrims still climb its slopes in the quiet of night to witness sunrise at the summit. Fact 149. The Andes are rich in spiritual traditions. For the Inca civilization, mountains, known as apis, were worshipped as powerful spirits. Offerings of food, textiles, and even miniature llamas were made to keep balance with the natural world. Fact 150. Modern climbers often describe mountain summits as deeply spiritual experiences, even without religious context. The solitude, silence, and vast views evoke awe that transcends words. Fact 151. Sacred mountains often inspire art, poetry, and music. From Japanese woodblock prints of Mount Fuji to romantic paintings of the Alps, these peaks become both symbols and muses. Fact 152. In Tibet, prayer flags flutter across high passes, carrying blessings to the winds. These flags connect the mountain landscape to human hopes and prayers, blending the physical and the spiritual. Fact 153. Many mountain pilgrimages involve rituals of endurance. Climbing in silence, fasting, or meditating during ascents symbolize purification and humility in the face of nature's vastness. Fact 154. Some sacred peaks remain untouched by modern climbing out of respect. Governments and local communities often forbid expeditions to maintain their sanctity, showing that reverence can outweigh human ambition. Fact 155. Sacred mountains also play roles in festivals. In Peru, the Quillariti festival involves thousands of pilgrims traveling to glaciers near Mount Osengate, blending Catholic traditions with ancient Andean rituals. Fact 156. Science, too, acknowledges the power of sacred peaks. Studies show that the psychological effects of awe and reverence in natural landscapes can reduce stress, strengthen social bonds, and even encourage more sustainable behavior. Fact 157. Many of today's ecotourism initiatives in mountain regions integrate spiritual heritage. Visitors are encouraged to not only admire the landscapes, but to respect the traditions that keep them alive. Fact 158. Sacred peaks remind us that mountains are more than geology. They embody human longing, faith, and imagination, our attempt to reach higher, both physically and spiritually. Fact 159. Whether wrapped in myth, honored by ritual, or simply revered in silence, sacred mountains demonstrate the universal connection between earth, sky, and soul. Fact 160. To stand before such peaks is to feel small, yet connected, humbled, yet elevated, an experience that has shaped civilizations, cultures, and individuals throughout history. Mountains are not empty or barren places. They are alive with human stories, traditions, and ways of life shaped by the challenges of high altitudes, steep valleys, and shifting climates. Fact 161. Around 1 billion people worldwide live in mountain regions. From the Andes to the Himalayas, from the Alps to the Ethiopian highlands. These communities adapt to conditions that are often harsh but rewarding. Fact 162. Mountain cultures often develop unique languages and dialects. The isolation of valleys and highlands allows distinct traditions to survive for centuries, preserving ancient ways of speaking and storytelling. Fact 163. The Sherpa people of Nepal are world-renowned for their mountaineering skills. Beyond their role in guiding climbers, they maintain deep spiritual traditions linked to the mountains, blending Buddhism with reverence for nature. Fact 164. In the Andes, Quechua-speaking communities farm terraces carved into mountain slopes. These ingenious structures maximize arable land and reduce erosion, innovations passed down since Inca times. Fact 165. The Alps are dotted with chalets and villages where traditions of cheesemaking, yodeling, and alpine festivals continue to this day, blending agriculture with tourism and cultural heritage. Fact 166. Mountain peoples often build homes with local stone and timber, adapting architecture to withstand cold winters, heavy snow, and shifting terrain. These structures often reflect a deep connection with their surroundings. Fact 167. In Bhutan, monasteries cling to cliffs, such as the famous Tiger's Nest Monastery. These architectural feats symbolize harmony between human faith and the rugged landscape. Fact 168. Mountain festivals celebrate both survival and abundance. In Kyrgyzstan and Mongolia, for example, festivals of horseback riding and wrestling celebrate nomadic traditions shaped by mountain life. Fact 169. Traditional diets in mountain regions are tailored to altitude. In the Himalayas, yak butter tea provides warmth and calories. In the Andes, quinoa and potatoes thrive in high-altitude fields. Fact 170. Mountain cultures often develop close-knit communities. Survival in isolated and demanding environments requires cooperation, shared labor, and a deep sense of interdependence. Fact 171. The Basque people in the Pyrenees maintain strong cultural traditions, including distinct music, sports, and cuisine, influenced by their mountainous homeland. Fact 172. Folklore in mountain regions is rich with tales of spirits, giants, and mystical beings. These stories often explain natural phenomena, from avalanches to echoing valleys. Fact 173. In Ethiopia's highlands, ancient rock-hewn churches, carved directly into mountain stone, have been centers of worship and community life for centuries. Fact 174. Education in mountain areas is often shaped by remoteness. Some children walk for hours along steep paths to reach schools, a daily journey that reflects resilience and determination. Fact 175. Modern mountain cultures balance tradition with tourism. Festivals, crafts, and cuisines attract visitors while keeping ancient customs alive. Yet, communities also face challenges of commercialization and cultural change. Fact 176. The Himalayas, Alps, and Andes all inspire unique forms of music. Instruments like the alpine horn, the Tibetan longhorn, and Andean panpipes echo the landscapes in which they were created. Fact 177. Storytelling and song often describe the mountains themselves, giving names and personalities to peaks, rivers, and valleys, transforming geography into living heritage. Fact 178. Despite globalization, mountain peoples often maintain sustainable practices rooted in respect for land and resources. Lessons increasingly valued in today's world. Fact 179. Migration also shapes mountain life. Seasonal workers move between valleys and cities, carrying traditions with them, creating bridges between isolated and global communities. Fact 180. The culture of mountains shows us how human ingenuity, spirit, and cooperation can flourish even in the world's most challenging terrains, turning isolation into resilience and ruggedness into beauty. Mountains are not only homes for people and cradles of culture. They are also magnets for visitors from every corner of the globe. Tourism in mountain regions has become one of the most powerful economic engines, blending natural wonder with modern travel. Fact 181. Millions of people each year journey to mountain destinations. From skiing in the Alps to trekking in Nepal, tourism provides jobs, supports local crafts, and funds conservation efforts in fragile environments. Fact 182. The Alps are the most visited mountain range in the world, welcoming more than 100 million tourists annually. Ski resorts, hiking trails, and spa towns combine luxury with breathtaking nature. Fact 183. In the Canadian Rockies, Banff and Jasper National Parks attract travelers with turquoise lakes, glaciers, and peaks. Tourism here is carefully managed to balance visitor enjoyment with ecosystem protection. Fact 184. Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania draws climbers seeking to stand on Africa's highest point. Thousands attempt the trek each year, with local guides and porters providing essential expertise. Fact 185. Tourism in the Himalayas ranges from luxury lodges for Everest trekkers to spiritual retreats in Bhutan. This diversity allows different kinds of travelers, adventurers, seekers of culture, or those seeking peace to find their place. Fact 186. Mountain tourism often emphasizes wellness. Spas in the Alps or hot springs in Japan's mountains combine health traditions with stunning views, appealing to travelers seeking relaxation and renewal. Fact 187. Ecotourism is growing rapidly in mountain regions. Visitors are drawn to bird watching, glacier walks, and botanical trails, offering income for local communities while preserving biodiversity. Fact 188. Tourism, however, comes with challenges. Overcrowding at famous peaks, waste left by climbers, and infrastructure development can threaten fragile alpine ecosystems. Fact 189. Some governments limit numbers of visitors. Bhutan, for example, uses a high-value, low-impact policy, focusing on fewer tourists but offering higher quality sustainable experiences. Fact 190. Winter sports drive much of mountain tourism. Skiing, snowboarding, and ice climbing bring travelers during cold months, but they also rely on snow patterns increasingly threatened by climate change. Fact 191. Summer tourism is equally strong. Hiking, cycling, and mountaineering attract those who prefer warm weather exploration, spreading visitor income across all seasons. Fact 192. Local cuisines are a major draw for visitors. Swiss fondue, Peruvian mountain potatoes, Tibetan momos, or Canadian maple syrup add flavors of authenticity to mountain journeys. Fact 193. Luxury tourism in mountain regions has expanded. High-end lodges, helicopter skiing, and curated private expeditions combine adventure with exclusivity, catering to global travelers seeking both thrill and comfort. Adventure 94. Adventure travel companies often market mountain experiences as journeys of self-discovery. Standing at a summit or completing a trek is framed as both physical achievement and personal growth. Fact 195. Many mountain destinations use festivals to attract tourists. Music events in alpine villages or traditional dances in Andean towns offer cultural immersion alongside natural beauty. Fact 196. Technology is transforming tourism. Drones, virtual reality, and high-resolution photography allow people to preview mountain experiences, inspiring new generations to explore. Fact 197. Tourism income in mountain areas often supports infrastructure like schools, healthcare, and transportation, creating benefits beyond the travel industry. Fact 198. Yet, balance is essential. Sustainable tourism models emphasize harmony between visitor enjoyment, environmental preservation, and the well-being of local communities. Fact 199. Mountain tourism reflects a human desire to rise above daily life. Whether through luxury experiences, adventurous treks, or peaceful retreats, it satisfies both body and soul. Fact 200. The story of tourism in mountains is still unfolding, shaped by climate change, globalization, and human imagination. But at its heart remains the same timeless allure, the call of the peaks, offering wonder, renewal, and connection. Mountains are more than awe-inspiring scenery. They are environmental pillars that regulate water, climate, and ecosystems across the globe. Their influence stretches far beyond their rocky slopes, touching billions of lives. Fact 201. Mountains are often called the water towers of the world. They supply fresh water to more than half of humanity, feeding rivers that sustain agriculture, cities, and entire economies. Fact 202. The glaciers of the Himalayas alone provide water to nearly 1.5 billion people in Asia, flowing into the Ganges, Mekong, Yangtze, and Indus rivers. These rivers form lifelines for countless communities. Fact 203. Mountain forests capture rainfall and release it gradually. This natural storage system helps reduce floods during heavy rains and prevents droughts in dry months. Fact 204. Alpine ecosystems host plants and animals that can't be found elsewhere. From snow leopards in Central Asia to edelweiss in the Alps, mountain biodiversity is a treasure trove of unique life. Fact 205. Many mountain species are highly adapted to their environments. The Himalayan tahr, for example, climbs steep cliffs with ease, while pika in the Rockies thrive by storing grasses for winter survival. Fact 206. Mountains also act as climate regulators. Their snow and ice reflect sunlight, influencing regional weather systems and helping to balance Earth's energy. Fact 207. Climate change poses serious threats to mountains. Glaciers are melting at alarming rates, altering water supplies and increasing the risk of floods and landslides. Fact 208. As glaciers retreat, new lakes form in high valleys. While beautiful, these glacial lakes can burst suddenly, causing destructive floods downstream. Fact 209. Rising temperatures also affect agriculture in mountain regions. Crops, once suited to cooler climates, like potatoes or barley, may face reduced yields, affecting food security. Fact 210. Mountain ecosystems are fragile. Overgrazing, deforestation, and mining can cause soil erosion, destabilizing slopes and threatening both wildlife and people. Fact 211. Conservation programs are increasingly focusing on mountain habitats. Protected areas such as national parks safeguard biodiversity while providing opportunities for ecotourism and education. Fact 212. International organizations recognize the importance of mountains. December 11th is celebrated as International Mountain Day, a reminder of their global significance. Fact 213. Renewable energy projects often make use of mountain geography. Hydroelectric dams harness rivers, while wind and solar installations take advantage of open, elevated landscapes. Fact 214. Traditional mountain farming practices are often more sustainable than industrial ones. Terrace farming reduces erosion, and rotational grazing helps maintain soil health. Fact 215. Indigenous knowledge in mountain regions offers solutions for modern environmental challenges. Practices of water conservation, herbal medicine, and forest stewardship hold wisdom for a changing climate. Fact 216. Pollution from cities and industries often drifts into mountain regions. Black carbon deposits on snow reduce its reflectivity, accelerating melting. Fact 217. Wildlife corridors in mountains are essential for species survival. They allow animals to migrate between valleys and elevations as climates shift. Fact 218. Protecting mountains benefits not just local communities, but entire nations. When rivers run clean and stable, when forests hold soil in place, when snowpack lasts through summer, everyone downstream thrives. Fact 219. Mountains remind us of nature's balance. Their towering presence holds together water, air, soil, and life itself. Fact 220. To care for mountains is to care for the earth. In their strength, fragility, and beauty, they carry lessons of resilience, responsibility, and interconnection that guide us into the future. Mountains have always been more than mere landforms. They are symbols of endurance, challenges to be overcome, and canvases upon which human imagination paints meaning. Across literature, art, and philosophy, mountains rise as powerful metaphors. Fact 221. In many cultures, mountains symbolize strength and permanence. Their slow transformations over millennia contrast with the fleeting pace of human life, reminding us of endurance through time. Fact 222. Philosophers and poets often turn to mountains as sources of inspiration. The romantic poets of Europe, like Wordsworth and Shelley, wrote of the sublime beauty of the Alps, where awe and fear intertwined. Fact 223. In Chinese landscape painting, mountains are central motifs. Towering peaks painted in ink and watercolor represent harmony between humanity and nature, and the search for spiritual tranquility. Fact 224. Mountains also embody struggle and achievement. The phrase, climbing a mountain, has become a metaphor worldwide for facing life's greatest challenges. Fact 225. In modern psychology, mountains symbolize resilience. The concept of peak experiences, introduced by Abraham Maslow, connects the feeling of standing on a summit with moments of clarity and fulfillment. Fact 226. Mountains have inspired national identities. The Matterhorn is a symbol of Switzerland. Mount Ararat holds deep meaning in Armenia. And Mount Everest represents human aspiration on a global scale. Fact 227. Pilgrimages to mountains are often journeys of self-discovery. Even in secular contexts, people travel to high places seeking perspective, silence, and renewal. Fact 228. In literature, mountains often appear as thresholds or boundaries. Crossing them symbolizes transformation, a passage into new worlds or states of being. Fact 229. Music also draws from mountains. From alpine horns to folk songs echoing through valleys. Mountain landscapes shape soundscapes that capture both isolation and grandeur. Fact 230. Mountains inspire architecture. Skyscrapers are sometimes called urban mountains, built to symbolize ambition and dominance in modern cities. Fact 231. Mountains frequently appear in mythology as homes of gods, or as cosmic pillars. This symbolism reflects their towering dominance in landscapes and human thought alike. Fact 232. In sports and outdoor culture, mountain spirit is celebrated as courage, freedom, and respect for nature. Climbers and hikers often speak of humility learned from the peaks. Fact 233. Films and documentaries use mountains as backdrops to capture resilience and beauty. From epic adventures in the Himalayas to serene scenes in the Rockies, mountains create emotional depth on screen. Fact 234. The psychological effect of mountains has been studied by scientists. Views of mountains reduce stress, increase feelings of awe, and even promote creativity and problem solving. Fact 235. Mountains also symbolize mystery. Their hidden valleys, unexplored caves, and unseen peaks remind us that there are still places on Earth beyond complete human grasp. Fact 236. Across cultures, mountains represent balance between heaven and earth, effort and reward, endurance and fragility. Fact 237. Travelers often describe mountain experiences as life-changing. The vast scale, silence, and sense of elevation create lasting impressions that words rarely capture. Fact 238. Mountains continue to inspire technology and science. Satellites measure glacial retreat. Drones survey remote peaks, and climbers share their journeys digitally, extending the metaphor of reaching new heights into modern life. Fact 239. Despite these innovations, mountains retain their ancient role as symbols of mystery, beauty, and human longing. They remain places where we turn our eyes upward, searching for something greater. Fact 240. To conclude, mountains are more than stone and snow. They are storytellers, teachers, and companions. They remind us to endure, to rise, and to find stillness in the heights. In their shadow and at their summits, humanity continues to dream.